Have you ever looked at certain people, you know, the ones who seem to just get richer and richer, and wondered, how do they do it?
Yeah.
It's like they're not necessarily working insane hours, way more than anyone else, but their wealth just seems to compound, almost like magic, year after year.
Right. It's a really common question, isn't it? And, well, it's definitely not luck, and it's certainly not magic.
So what is it?
It really boils down to one fundamental difference in how they approach money. They're not just trading their time for a paycheck. They're actively owning things, assets, things that actually make money for them. They've kind of shifted roles, you know, from being the worker to being the boss of their own capital.
Exactly. That's the core distinction, isn't it? The wealthy versus, well, everyone else stuck in that paycheck cycle. It's not about how much you earn.
Not primarily, no.
It's about how much you own in that asset column. And that fundamental idea, that's what we're really digging into today.
Yeah, this deep dive.
Our mission is pretty clear. We're going to unpack like 15 really powerful assets, the kind that are often quietly building wealth behind the scenes. And we want to explore how they work, the actual mechanics.
Understand the engine.
Exactly. Think of it as the shortcut to understanding that continuous, almost leveraged wealth building.
Okay, so to sort of set the stage here, let's nail down the foundational principle. This comes straight from, well, all the sources we looked at.
Okay.
Wealthy people, they see every single dollar they get, not just as money, but as a potential worker.
A worker, like an employee.
Exactly like an employee. They immediately think, okay, how can I hire this dollar, send it out to earn more dollars? The ultimate goal is to stop that exhausting one-for-one trade time for money,
Right.
and instead start owning these income-producing assets, these tireless workers that just keep going for you, 24/7, no holidays, no sick days.
An army of dollars. I like it. Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with the traditional heavy hitters, you know?
Yeah.
The pillars of wealth that built fortunes over the last century or so.
Right.
Right. So when you think old school wealth, tangible stuff you can, like, touch, asset number one have to be real estate.
Oh, absolutely. The classic.
The classic multiplier. Why has property, you know, owning buildings and land stayed such a gold standard for creating wealth for literally centuries?
Well, it's because the underlying mechanism is just so robust. It's multifaceted. Real estate typically gives you three powerful streams of benefit at the same time.
Three streams. Okay.
Yeah. First, the obvious one, rental income,
Okay.
cash flow coming in every month.
Okay.
Second, there's appreciation. Over time, the value of the land, the building, it tends to go up. Natural growth.
Makes sense.
But the third piece, and this is the one people often misunderstand or underestimate, is the incredible leverage combined with some really significant tax advantages. These things dramatically speed up wealth building.
Okay, leverage. This is where that dollar worker idea you mentioned really comes into play, right? The leverage insight. Real estate's kind of unique because you can use other people's money and even their time to build your own equity. Can we break that down a bit more? That idea of turning time into wealth with property.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a standard rental property. Could be a house, could be a small apartment building. You, the investor, you typically put down a fraction of the cost, right? Maybe 20%.
The down payment.
Exactly. The bank loans you the other 80%. That's the initial financial leverage. Now, you rent it out, and here's the kicker. The tenant, the person living there, their rent payment is what covers the mortgage principal, the interest, the property taxes, probably the insurance too, every single month.
So you control the whole thing.
You control 100% of this appreciating asset.
Yeah.
But someone else is paying off the debt and covering the running costs.
Wow.
So you're leveraging the bank's money, sure, but you're also leveraging the tenant's monthly payments. You're essentially harnessing their financial effort, their time working to earn that rent, to build your net worth.
That tenant's rent check is a seriously efficient worker you've just hired.
Yeah.
Okay, but you also mentioned tax benefits. What specific advantages do the sources point to that make real estate such a, well, an engine for wealth?
The big one is depreciation. It's kind of counterintuitive.
How so?
Well, the IRS lets you deduct a portion of the building's value each year on your taxes. The logic is that structures wear out over time, theoretically.
Okay.
Even if, in reality, the property's market value is actually increasing.
Ah, so it's a paper expense.
Exactly. It's a non-cash expense. It can shelter a significant chunk of your rental income from taxes. You might show a loss on paper for tax purposes while actually having positive cash flow hitting your bank account.
That sounds useful.
And it gets better. For savvy investors, there are things like the 1031 exchange. If you manage things right, this lets you sell one investment property and roll the proceeds into buying another, similar one. and defer paying capital gains taxes. Potentially indefinitely.
Indefinitely.
If you keep rolling it over according to the rules. It's how sophisticated players keep their capital working and compounding without getting hit by taxes every time they upgrade or reposition their portfolio.
That's a huge advantage, a worker that actually protects your other income. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Asset number 2. This one's way more accessible for most people, but potentially just as powerful. Stocks.
Right, owning little pieces of companies.
Fractional ownership. Explain that connection. How does owning a tiny slice of, say, Apple actually build your wealth?
Well, at its core, a share of stock is genuine ownership, a tiny claim on the company's assets and future profits. So when you buy that share, your personal wealth is directly tied to that company's success. As the company grows, makes more profit, expands its business, the value of your ownership, stake, your stock, generally goes up too. It's a pretty straightforward way to deploy those dollar workers into established, often growing businesses.
And the money comes back to you in 2 main ways, right? 2 mechanisms.
Precisely. First up, you've got dividends.
Right.
These are basically portions of the company's profits that they decide to pay out directly to their shareholders, usually on a regular schedule, like quarterly. Great for income seekers.
Okay, dividends, and the second?
Capital gains.
Yeah.
This is often the bigger driver for long-term wealth. It's simply the increase in the stock's price, its market value, from when you bought it to when you eventually sell it.
Got it. Buy low, sell high, the classic idea.
Kind of. But the real magic, especially for wealth building over time, isn't just about timing the market. It's about compounding. This applies powerfully to both reinvested dividends and those capital gains.
Compounding. You hear that word all the time with investing, it feels like a mathematical superpower or something. How do the sources explain its power in the stock market context? For someone maybe new to this.
Yeah, it's not about getting rich overnight. It's about exponential growth over time. Think of it like a snowball rolling downhill.
Okay.
Your initial investment earns a return, right? Maybe 10%. Now, if you reinvest that return, next year you're earning 10%, not just on your original money, but on the original money plus that first year's profit.
Ah, so the earnings start earning too.
Exactly. That's the engine. Your money starts making money, and then that money starts making more money. The sources really highlight this. Even small, consistent investments, like a few $100 a month, put into the market consistently over decades, can absolutely grow into millions. Because after maybe 10, 15 years, the growth on your past growth, the compounding effect, often starts generating more profit each year than the actual new money you're putting in.
So time is your friend.
Time and consistency become your most valuable allies.
Yeah.
It's powerful stuff.
Okay, now, asset number 3 tackles something I think holds a lot of people back. The overwhelm of trying to pick which stocks to buy.
Right. The analysis paralysis.
Yeah, and the fear of picking the wrong company, the next Enron or something. That's where index funds and ETFs, exchange-traded funds, come in, right?
Absolutely. Their main job is diversification and simplicity. For anyone who doesn't want the headache, or maybe doesn't have the time or expertise to research and pick individual stocks, these funds are a fantastic solution.
How do they work? How do they spread the risk?
Well, instead of buying one stock, you buy shares in a fund that holds many stocks. An index fund, for example, might track a major market index like the S&P 500.
So you own a piece of the whole market.
Pretty much. By buying just one share of that S&P 500 index fund, you instantly own a tiny slice of, 500 of the largest, typically top-performing U.S. companies. All at once, your risk is automatically spread out.
That sounds like hiring a whole diversified team of dollar workers instead of pinning your hopes on just one superstar employee. Yeah. Much safer.
Much safer, generally speaking. Less potential for one company blowing up to sink your portfolio.
Now, people often lump index funds and ETFs together. Do the sources differentiate them at all? Is there a reason to choose one over the other?
They do, and it matters, mostly for how they trade and sometimes for taxes. Traditional index mutual funds, they usually only trade once per day after the market closes at what's called the net asset value, or NAV.
Okay.
ETFs, on the other hand, trade throughout the entire market day, just like individual stocks. Their prices fluctuate constantly.
So ETFs offer more flexibility if you want to buy or sell midday.
Exactly. And often due to their structure, ETFs can sometimes be a bit more tax efficient than traditional mutual funds, especially in taxable brokerage accounts. That's a nuance that, serious investors pay attention to.
Interesting. But the general approach is solid.
Oh, definitely. The endorsement is strong. Warren Buffett himself has famously and repeatedly recommended low-cost index funds as the best bet for the vast majority of investors. Because historically, they outperform most actively managed funds where managers are trying to pick winners, especially after you factor in the lower fees of index funds. Keep costs low, stay diversified, let the market work for you.
A solid strategy for a passive wealth worker. Okay, let's move to asset number 4. Now, if real estate is the classic multiplier, owning your own business, that seems to be the ultimate scaler.
Yes. This one is consistently flagged in the sources as potentially the single biggest wealth generator in history.
Bigger than stocks or real estate?
In terms of potential speed and scale, yes. Because of the possibility for almost unlimited scalability. We're not talking about just having a job here, even a high-paying one.
Right.
We're talking about building and owning an engine, an enterprise. Doesn't have to be huge, could be an online store, could be a consulting practice, could be a massive corporation. The key is that it generates income separate from your direct hour-by-hour labor.
And the benefits always cited are things like control, freedom, massive leverage. What kind of leverage are we talking about here? It's not just the money working, is it?
No, it's more than that. It's system leverage and team leverage.
Explain that.
Okay, say you start a small digital marketing agency.
Yeah.
You hire 5 people. Suddenly, you're leveraging their 40 hours a week each, in addition to your own. That's 200 hours of productive work contributing to your bottom line, driven by your initial 40 hours. That's team leverage.
Right.
And then system leverage. You build repeatable processes, marketing funnels that automatically attract leads, software that automates tasks, a sales script that consistently converts. These systems keep working, keep generating revenue, even when you step away, even when you're on vacation.
Unlike a salary, which stops when you stop working.
Precisely. A business's income stream, if you find the right market and build the right systems, can theoretically scale almost infinitely.
Now, the examples range from, a simple e-commerce shop to a big agency, but we have to talk about the flip side, the risk.
Oh yeah, huge risk.
Businesses fail all the time. It's maybe the fastest path to wealth, but also maybe the fastest path to losing everything. How do the sources suggest managing that inherent risk?
The key themes are starting lean and managing cash flow carefully. The sources really emphasize businesses with low initial overhead and potentially high margins. Think services, digital products, things that don't require massive upfront capital for inventory or equipment.
Like the digital agency example.
Exactly. Or creating online courses, things like that. It's also often suggested to treat the initial phase almost like a side hustle, an experiment. Keep your day job, your stable income, while you test the waters.
Don't bet the farm immediately.
Right. The biggest killers of new businesses aren't usually bad ideas. It's running out of cash or the founder burning out. So you manage risk by starting small, validating the idea, and maybe using business ownership as an accelerator once you already have some financial stability, rather than a desperate leap.
Got it. Highest risk, highest reward among those first 4. Requires serious commitment.
Tremendous commitment, yeah. Mental and emotional capital, just as much as financial.
Okay, so we've covered the tangible stuff, the market ownership. Now let's shift gears into, the newer world, the digital age, where assets maybe don't need land or a physical building.
Right, where the worker can replicate itself instantly, essentially for free.
Exactly. Let's kick off this section with asset number 5, intellectual property, IP.
Yeah, IP. This really embodies that powerful idea of do the work once, get paid, potentially forever.
What falls under IP? Give us some examples.
It's basically anything created by your mind that has value and can be protected. So think software code, a unique algorithm, a patented invention, a book you wrote, a song you composed, even a really well-structured online course.
Things you create with your brain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the huge appeal here is the royalty model, or the potential for ongoing sales.
Sure.
You invest the time and effort up front to create it, and then the income can just keep flowing for years, maybe decades, long after you finish the actual creation part.
That classic earning while you sleep idea. Let's dig into that mechanism. How does that initial burst of, say, writing a book translate into continuous leveraged income?
It's basically pure leverage on your stored knowledge or creativity. Let's take the online course example again. Say you spend 100 hours creating a really great course, teaching a valuable skill.
Okay.
Once it's made, that digital asset can be sold maybe 10 times, maybe 10,000 times, maybe more. And the effort to sell the 10,000th copy is virtually zero for you, the creator.
Compared to trading 100 hours of consulting for 100 hours of pay.
Exactly. One-to-one versus one-to-many. IP lets your expertise scale infinitely. The sources also make a distinction, by the way, between licensing your IP, letting others use it for a fee, like a royalty,
Right.
versus selling the IP outright for a one-time payment.
Which is better.
Well, often the really smart wealth builders prefer licensing. They retain ownership of the underlying asset, and it keeps generating that passive income stream over the long haul.
Keeps that worker working for you.
Okay.
Next up, asset number 6. This taps into the huge shift in how we get information, how we spend our time. Online content creation.
Yeah. YouTubers, podcasters like us, bloggers.
For these creators, the audience itself becomes the asset, right? A really valuable one.
Absolutely. In today's economy, attention isn't just some vague concept. It's quantifiable.
Yeah.
It's arguably one of the most valuable currencies there is.
Attention as currency. I like that.
When you build a loyal, engaged following around your content, video, audio writing, whatever, that content becomes your brand.
Yeah.
And that brand builds trust.
And the trust is the key.
Trust is the mechanism. It's the asset that unlocks the revenue. Your audience becomes like a collective worker, ready to respond.
How does that monetization actually happen? How does the audience work?
Well, there are several layers. The most basic is ad revenue getting paid based on views or downloads. Simple enough.
Okay.
Then you have direct sponsorships, which can be much more lucrative. Companies pay premium rates to get their message in front of your specific engaged audience.
Because they trust your recommendation implicitly.
Exactly. And perhaps the most powerful path is using that content platform as a sales funnel, a way to sell your own intellectual property or digital products, assets 5 and 7 that we're talking about.
Ah, so the content feeds the other assets.
Precisely. Your podcast, your blog, your YouTube channel becomes this distribution engine. It constantly generates leads and drives sales for your other creations. And the beauty is, old content keeps working. An episode or article from 2 years ago might still be attracting viewers, generating ad revenue, or selling your course today. Residual income.
That's powerful leverage on past effort. Okay, asset number 7 flows right from this. Digital products. These seem like the ultimate inefficiency, almost pure profit.
Yeah, that's the term the sources often use, pure profit, or close to it. This category includes things people can buy and download instantly. Think software templates, maybe a specialized mobile app, those niche online courses we mentioned, useful printables, ebooks, digital guides.
Stuff you make once and sell infinitely.
Right, and the efficiency is just staggering compared to traditional businesses. There's no inventory to store, no boxes to ship, usually very low overhead once the product itself is actually created.
So the cost to sell one more copy is almost nothing?
Effectively zero. That's why the margins can be so incredibly high. It's almost all profit after the initial creation cost is covered.
That high profit margin is obviously the big draw, but if it's relatively easy to create these, doesn't that mean huge competition? How does someone actually succeed? Does the source material offer advice on getting noticed, getting traffic?
It definitely does. The absolute key seems to be niching down. Go super specific.
Not broad.
No. The successful examples aren't people creating a generic budgeting app. They're creating like a hyper-specialized spreadsheet template just for freelance graphic designers to track their project income and expenses.
Solve a very specific problem for a very specific group.
Exactly. Find a distinct pain point for a well-defined audience and offer the perfect digital solution. And yes, traffic is crucial. The product is the asset, sure, but you need a way to get eyes on it.
So how do you hire workers for that?
Often, it circles back to Asset 6, your own content platform. Or you might use paid advertising, like Facebook or Google Ads. Success here really lies at that intersection, creating a great specific product and mastering the distribution, the marketing side.
Creation plus distribution. Got it. Okay, now let's talk about a different kind of digital property, almost like virtual storefronts. Asset number 8, domain names and websites, digital real estate.
That's a perfect analogy. Owning a really good domain name, short, memorable, relevant, or owning a website that already gets a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
It's very similar to owning a shop on the busiest street in town.
How so?
The internet is the street now, and website traffic or a really brandable domain name that's prime location, it has inherent value because attention flows there. High-value domains are scarce, just like prime real estate, and traffic is the digital equivalent of footfall. It's currency.
So how do people actually make money from owning these domains or established sites? What are the strategies?
The sources point to mainly 3. First, there's domain flipping. Kind of like real estate speculation. You buy domain names you think will be valuable in the future, maybe related to new tech or trends, hoping to sell them later at a profit to a company or startup that needs that specific name.
Buy low, sell high on digital land.
Pretty much. Second, if you own a website that already has significant consistent traffic, you can monetize it fairly passively through display advertising. Put ads on the site, get paid per view or per click. Once the audience is there, it requires ongoing content, but the monetization can be somewhat automated.
Okay, and the third way?
This is often the most strategic, especially for business owners. You use the website as a lead generation machine, a perpetual worker bringing in potential customers for your main business, whether that's selling services, digital products, or physical goods. Or you use it for affiliate marketing, recommending other people's products and earning a commission.
So the established website becomes a trust signal, an asset that commands revenue because of its audience and authority.
Exactly. It's a valuable piece of digital infrastructure.
All right, final one in this digital section, and it's a controversial one. Asset number 9, cryptocurrency.
Ah, yes. Bitcoin, Ethereum, the like.
Super volatile, obviously. But the sources seem to be increasingly classifying these not just as currency, but as a form of digital property, right? Especially within a diversified plan.
That classification shift is really important, yeah. Smart investors, or at least the ones profiled in the sources, aren't just thinking of Bitcoin as digital cash. They're viewing it more like decentralized digital real estate, blockchain-based property.
What makes it property-like?
Well, key characteristics are scarcity, like Bitcoin's fixed supply, and the fact that it's generally not controlled by a single central bank or government. That decentralization is a big part of the appeal for some investors, especially those worried about inflation or instability in traditional fiat currencies.
A potential hedge.
That's how some wealthy individuals are starting to frame it, yes. A potential, albeit highly speculative, hedge against the traditional financial system.
Okay, but this whole space is just littered with hype, scams, and people losing their shirts, treating it like a casino.
Absolutely. Massive risk.
So what's a crucial guidance from the sources on how a smart investor should approach crypto? How should they treat this asset?
The guidance is very clear and very cautious. It's treated as a small, calculated slice of an already well-diversified portfolio. We're talking maybe 1% to 5% allocation max for most people.
So not betting the house.
Definitely not. The sources explicitly warn against treating crypto as some kind of guaranteed get-rich-quick scheme. It's absolutely not that.
So the approach is?
Hold a small amount for the long term, based on the potential of the underlying technology as digital property or decentralized infrastructure. Acknowledge the extreme volatility. And critically, only invest capital you can genuinely afford to lose completely. It's an exploration, a tiny bet on a potential new paradigm, not a replacement for those core income-producing assets like stocks, real estate, or your own business.
Okay, let's shift again. Now we're moving into asset classes that are maybe traditionally more the playground of the ultra-wealthy, often used less for direct income and more as insurance policies against wider risks or as ways to get really explosive growth.
Yeah, we're definitely climbing the ladder here in terms of capital needed and often specialized knowledge.
Let's start with asset number 10, art and high-end collectibles.
Right. This is a really broad category. It could be anything from, famous paintings or sculptures.
Stuff you see in museums.
Exactly. But also things like rare, vintage luxury watches, investment-grade wines, antique cars, even rare comic books or trading cards. And now, increasingly, digital collectibles like high-value NFTs, non-fungible tokens.
So, unique, scarce items. What's their main job in a serious wealth strategy? Because most of these don't pay dividends or rent, right?
Correct. Their primary function, especially for the very wealthy, isn't usually income generation. It's acting as a store of value, specifically a hedge against inflation.
How does a painting protect against inflation?
Well, think about it. When the value of regular currency, like the dollar, goes down when your cash buys less and less, the price of scarce, desirable, non-reproducible things often goes up, or at least holds its value better.
Because they can't just print more Picassos.
Exactly. The supply is fixed or extremely limited. So these collectibles can help protect the purchasing power of existing capital when traditional money is losing value. It's about preserving wealth through economic turbulence.
So it's less about getting rich, more about staying rich when things get shaky. But you mentioned it requires expertise. The sources talk about needing research and taste.
Oh, absolutely. This is not passive investing like buying an index fund. Far from it. Succeeding here demands deep, specialized knowledge of a particular market.
You need to know your stuff.
You really do. You need to understand authenticity, provenance, the item's history, condition, market trends, artist reputation, all within very specific, often opaque niche markets. It takes serious homework and, frankly, good judgment, that taste factor.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It is. But for those who do have that expertise, the returns can actually be surprisingly high. And crucially, those returns are often uncorrelated with the stock market. They move independently. So for the right person, it can be a legitimate, though highly specialized diversification tool.
Interesting. Okay, asset number 11 brings us back to something much older, a classic wealth protector. The ultimate insurance policy, perhaps? Precious metals?
Yeah, we're talking primarily gold and silver here, the old reliables.
What's their role? It feels similar to collectibles, but maybe more fundamental.
Their role is very singular, very clear, and it hasn't changed much for centuries.
Yeah.
They're the financial insurance policy, full stop.
Insurance against what?
Against systemic failure, extreme economic downturns, geopolitical crises, hyperinflation. They generally don't produce active income. Gold bars don't pay dividends. And you don't necessarily buy them expecting the same kind of growth you hope for from stocks.
So if they're not actively making you richer, like day to day, what are they doing sitting in a vault somewhere?
They're basically preventing you from becoming disastrously poor if everything else goes wrong. Historically, during periods of intense fear or crisis, when confidence in government, banks, or paper money evaporates, people instinctively flock back to physical gold and silver, things with intrinsic, universally recognized value. This demand helps them hold their value or even increase it, precisely when other assets, currencies, stocks, bonds might be collapsing.
So it's ballast for the portfolio.
Stability. Exactly. It provides crucial stability and resilience in a portfolio designed to weather serious storms. It's a very specialized worker, hired purely for safety and security, not for growth.
Okay, understood. Now, let's crank up the risk and reward dial significantly. Here's where we hear about potentially exponential growth. Asset number 12, private equity.
Right. This is investing directly into private companies, businesses that are not listed on public stock exchanges like the New York Stock Exchange.
So investing in startups or established private firms before they go public, before an IPO.
Exactly. You're getting in earlier, often at a much lower valuation per share than what the public market might eventually pay, assuming the company becomes successful and has an exit event, like an IPO or getting acquired by a larger company.
And the success stories here are legendary, right? The people who got into Uber or Airbnb or Tesla when they were just small private startups made incredible amounts of money.
Fortunes were made. Absolutely. Astronomical returns are possible.
But this sounds really exclusive.
Yeah.
Like not something the average person can just do, right? What are the catches? What are the barriers the sources mention?
You're right, it's generally much less accessible. First off, it's inherently riskier. Many, maybe most, startups fail, so you could lose your entire investment.
There's a high failure rate.
Very high. Because of that risk, these kinds of investments are often legally restricted to accredited investors. That means people who meet certain high thresholds for net worth or annual income. The regulators figure they can afford to lose the money.
Okay, so you need to be wealthy already. What else?
Two other huge factors are illiquidity and long time horizons.
Yeah.
Unlike public stocks you can sell any day, your investment in a private company is usually locked up. You can't easily sell your shares.
You're stuck.
You might be committed for 5, 7, maybe 10 years or even longer, waiting for that IPO or acquisition, the exit event that allows you to finally cash out. So you need patience, and you do not need that money anytime soon.
So definitely not where you start your wealth journey. This is more like pouring gasoline on an already established fire if you have the capital and the stomach for the risk.
That's a great way to put it. It's an acceleration mechanism for those who already have significant capital, a strong network to find good deals, and extreme patience. But the sources are clear. This is how many millionaires become billionaires. It's where that truly exponential wealth multiplication often happens by accessing growth curves the public markets just don't offer.
Got it. Okay, one more in this section, asset number 13. We touched on this with IP, but the sources make a distinction for royalties as its own category, calling it pure passive idea income.
Yeah, the distinction's important. Think of it this way. Intellectual property, asset 5, is the thing you created, the invention, the song, the book, the software code.
The asset itself.
Right. Royalties are the income stream you get from licensing that asset to others. It's the payment someone makes to you for the right to use your creation.
Give some examples beyond just books or music.
Okay, think about patents. Maybe you patented a specific manufacturing process. A company pays you a royalty for every unit they produce using your process. Or maybe you own land with mineral rights. A mining company pays you royalties based on the resources they extract. or licensing a trademark or brand name.
Ah, so it's the income from the idea, specifically through licensing. Why is this called out as a hidden gem?
Because it's arguably one of the purest forms of passive income imaginable. You do the hard work once inventing the process, composing the jingle, writing the code, securing the patent. And then, potentially for years or decades, other people or companies just send you checks simply for the privilege of using your idea. You often don't have to manage anything actively, you just collect the fees based on their usage or sales volume.
Your original idea becomes this dedicated automated worker just sending you money.
Exactly. It continuously pays you back for that initial intellectual effort. It's a beautiful model if you can create something truly valuable that others want to license.
All right, we've journeyed through physical assets, market shares, digital creations, and even these high-level hedges and multipliers. Now we arrive at perhaps the most interesting category. Assets that are maybe less tangible, entirely within your own control, but often completely overlooked.
Yeah, the personal capital assets. Critically important.
Let's start with asset number 14, your personal brand.
This is the one most people just don't think of as an asset in the financial sense. It feels fuzzy, maybe, not concrete.
Right, your reputation, your name, who you are professionally.
Exactly. Your personal brand is the sum total of your reputation, your demonstrated expertise, your network, your influence within your field. And believe me, in today's connected world, that is absolutely a high-value asset, high-value currency.
Okay, but how does something like reputation translate into actual measurable financial value? How does it act like a worker?
Well, think about trust and perception. A strong, positive personal brand immediately gives you higher perceived value. People trust you more readily.
And trust matters because
trust dramatically shortens sales cycles. It allows you to command premium pricing for your skills, your products, your services. People are willing to pay more to work with someone they know, like, and trust, someone seen as an authority.
Makes sense.
And beyond just charging more, a strong brand acts like a magnet. It opens doors automatically. Opportunities come to you that others have to chase hard for.
What kind of opportunities?
Highly paid consulting gigs, lucrative partnership deals, invitations to join advisory boards, keynote speaking opportunities that can pay 5 or even 6 figures for a single talk, collaborations with other influential people. The sources nail it with this principle. The richer your brand, the richer your opportunities.
So your brand makes everything else easier.
It makes acquiring customers, finding investors, selling your IP, promoting your digital products, everything we've discussed significantly easier and more profitable. It's leverage on your very identity.
Your brand is like the ultimate ambassador worker, constantly creating chances without you having to knock on doors.
Precisely. It works for you, even when you're not actively working. That accumulated trust and recognition is an asset that appreciates with every quality piece of work you put out, every valuable connection you make.
Okay, that leads us perfectly into the grand finale, the master asset, the most critical one of all, according to the sources. Asset number 15, knowledge and skills.
This is the big one. The sources consistently emphasize that your mind, what's between your ears, is the ultimate foundational asset.
Why the ultimate?
Because knowledge and skills are what create everything else. You can't analyze a real estate deal without financial literacy. You can't build an app without coding skills. You can't negotiate a licensing agreement for your IP without understanding contracts and negotiation tactics.
So knowledge unlocks all the other asset classes.
It's the prerequisite, it's the engine. Investing in your own knowledge, your own capabilities, arguably offers the highest possible return on investment, because it enables you to build and manage all the other workers.
Let's get specific, though. Are we talking about just general education or specific types of skills? What are the high-income skills the sources point to as being wealth generators?
It's definitely focused on high-value, often specialized revenue-generating skills, not just baseline competence.
Such as?
Examples that come up repeatedly are things like sophisticated financial analysis and investment skills, high-ticket sales and complex negotiation mastery, advanced software development or data science, specialized digital marketing like performance marketing or SEO at a high level, even emerging skills like AI integration for business efficiency.
Skills that directly create or capture significant value.
Exactly. These are skills that companies pay top dollar for, or skills that allow you to build highly profitable businesses or assets yourself. Mastering one or more of these can directly lead to millions in generated income or asset value.
But the truly unique thing about this asset, the reason it's maybe the most powerful, it's permanent, right? It's portable.
That's its ultimate advantage. It's inviolable. No one can ever take it away from you. You might lose a job, your house could burn down, the stock market could crash.
Right.
But the knowledge you possess, the ability to code, to sell, to analyze, to create, to persuade, that stays with you. It doesn't matter what the economy does or where you are geographically.
You can always use it to rebuild or start again.
Always. It's the core engine that allows you to identify opportunities, navigate challenges, and build or rebuild any of the other asset types we've talked about. It's the one worker that truly empowers all the others, and it's completely, uniquely yours. #outro. So if we try to pull all of this together, synthesize these 15 assets, the core message, the fundamental truth that jumps out is just crystal clear, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Truly wealthy people, they focus their energy, their time, their resources on building and acquiring assets. They aren't just chasing the next paycheck.
They're thinking like employers of capital.
Exactly. Every dollar that comes in isn't just for spending. It's immediately seen as a potential worker. How can I put this dollar to work, send it out into the world to bring back more dollars? That's the mindset. It multiplies their financial power and, crucially, reduces their dependence on trading their own limited physical time for money.
So for you listening, for the learner taking all this in, what's the takeaway? What does this mean practically starting today?
It means you really have to make a mental shift. Stop focusing only on your hourly wage or your salary. Start thinking strategically, consciously about hiring these dollar workers, building your asset column.
And you don't need to start huge.
Absolutely not. Start small. The sources are really practical here. Maybe take a small portion of your next paycheck and buy your very first share of a low-cost index fund. Or commit just a few hours a week to outlining that digital product idea, something that solves a real problem you understand.
Or invest in yourself.
Yes. Invest that time, or even some money, into learning one of those high-income skills. Take an online course on coding, read books on negotiation, practice your sales technique. Start building Asset 15.
The key ingredient seems to be just starting. And then sticking with it.
That's it. Early adoption and relentless consistency. The sooner you actually start acquiring these assets, hiring these workers, even tiny ones at first, the sooner that incredible power of compounding and leverage begins to work for you.
And the sooner your money starts working hard, so maybe eventually you don't have to work quite as hard yourself.
That's the goal, isn't it? Getting your money to work tirelessly for you instead of the other exhausting way around.
Okay, so this whole deep dive, all these assets, it really boils down to one final, maybe provocative thought we want to leave you with. It's pulled straight from this material. Assets make you rich, not ours.
Assets, not ours.
So the challenge for you is this. Take a moment, maybe after this, and actually calculate. How many dedicated workers, how many genuine income-producing assets do you currently have employed right now? And then think, how many more do you need to hire? And at what rate do you need to hire them to reach whatever your definition of financial independence looks like?
The real work isn't just in the earning anymore, it's in the hiring. Building that army of assets, that's the path.